Turned 85 last week. So.
Yes, it's pretty much everybody here that we know is coming. Welcome everybody here and welcome a new man. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Michael?
Like I said, my name is Michael Bates, and like I said, I lived in the county all my life, 53 years old. And I have worked with at the Amelia Bovine Clinic, which is a veterinarian clinic with Dr. Watson. I worked with him for 38 years. So
So you're from down that area?
I'm from the Namazine area, which is District 5 area.
All right. Well, do you know everybody here?
I've seen, I generally know everybody, not, personally. But
Well, maybe.
Assume you could know everybody.
All right, these two up in the Painville area
Okay.
and you're in that or Bamber area.
Yeah, well, I think we went to school together.
Yeah, we went.
Well, she's in, I guess, which area are you in now?
The village.
The village. The village. Well, Juan is over in our area, my area. Well, it's certainly welcome you here. Glad to have you here, and we certainly have determined to have a quorum. What's your approval for the minutes on December 27th? I didn't see anything out of line. I mean, we had plenty of people talk, speak for and against solar plant.
I move to be approved.
Second,
Second.
more discussion? All in favor, make a note by saying aye. All opposed, same sign. I guess I'll turn it over to Holly.
Okay, I'll open the floor for nominations for the position of chairman.
I nominate Larkin if he's willing.
I'll facilitate.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Well, thank you. I do my best. But it takes all of us to get the job done. It's not a person's job. How about vice chair? Roy Easter was vice chair before.
He said he would do it again.
Yeah, he said he would.
You don't want it, Dennis?
I'll renominate Roy again.
All right, Roy Easter's been nominated. Anyone else? Any other nominees? If not, we'll put Roy down. Subcommittees.
I have a list. I don't know if y'all wanted to make any changes or keep what you are. I can go through it real quick and remind you which one you're.
Well, it might show Michael, is he gonna take the ones that,
He would take Mr. Worship's, which would be zoning, subdivision, and VDOT studies.
anyone else like to change? Of course, you're welcome to attend any meetings, any subcommittee. Well, we'll leave that like it is right now. And I don't think anything has changed in the bylaws from last year. We did a little bit of updating.
Right.
Main thing I think is brought out is if you want to serve on the board, certainly need to participate by showing up. So, because we can't accomplish if we don't have enough. Old business, anyone know of any old business? Only thing I might have is, I know solar wasn't on board of supervisors.
Yeah, the solar project wanted some time to get their ducks in a row based on the feedback they got at the public hearing here. So they decided to defer from the January meeting. He actually just emailed me a couple of minutes ago and asked to talk tomorrow. So they could be on the board's agenda for February unless they're proposing any major changes. If they're making any major changes,
Come back.
back here again.
Okay. New business, capital improvement plan. I ought to welcome the two new board members here too. We met about the second or third
December 20th.
December 20th. And I guess if you turn to the ones got the color pages, most of the packet is what we discussed or saw that day, or heard about that day. And we went about it just like we did past. You ranked them high, medium, and low. We didn't have to come up within a dollar value. We had been running dollar value, and that was pretty hard to get within that range. Because really, we just kind of want to put them in perspective as to when the board of supervisors meet and come up, what we thought was the highest, medium, and low. But they'll know more knowledge than we received that day. And they'll know a little bit more. But what we were told that day is some of them that were low probably on there, we didn't have quite as much information as we thought we might needed. Thought they needed a little more info. And
I do have one update.
Right.
When the committee met, they brought up some concerns about, for Parks and Recs, it's item 15, if you're on the sheet with the colors on it, with the bleachers and the padding being on there together. I went back to Glenn after our meeting and he took the padding out and is going to put that just in his working budget.
all right,
So the number
that'll be down.
item has been updated.
All right. Any questions on anything there? We weren't sure. You take the Superior Way extension, that was less than 500 feet. That's a lot of dollars. But that was sewer and water approaching that too, at the industrial park. The animal shelter. I don't know if you know, there's the budget item in there, about $1.6 million. They weren't real sure about if they could get the land where they wanted it. That was still kind of tied up. We thought they needed probably a little more info on that. Any other questions on there? Of course, also, if you look at the page before, you can see what's been started for this year. Page before that. Current funding projects.
Yeah.
And it kind of tells you where they are at that point.
And this is what's left. There were significantly more that have already been completed. This is
Yeah.
what's left to be completed.
And then if you flip to the next page, it's kind of what the 22 is still in there. What 23 will be working on. Any questions? Comments? I certainly appreciate all those who are on the committee. And kind of surprised we didn't have anything from library this year. They didn't come before us. I think everyone else did.
Yeah, their project, they submitted their project, but they're not asking for it until 2027. So I'm sure they'll be back in a couple of years.
And of course, the school, I don't know if that whole package here or not, school brought in a pretty good catalog. And it's broken down in over 5 years, 7 years. Right along with all they thought they needed, or with the
Yeah, there's,
analysts thought they might need.
yeah, they just had an assessment done. It's a couple hundred pages, so I'm happy to email that out. But it is not included in the packet. But there were 5 studies in there, so.
So they pretty much did a study per school. I guess replacements on top, gym, we kind of put both of them down at the same time. Figured we had the crane there, put them up, put them down, save a little money maybe. But the school has gotten a little bit better in the last couple years about getting pretty specific at what they would rather have. One time it was kind of like, I want all. So So they've gotten a little bit better since the new superintendent's come in that area. Because before we would okay something and the board of supervisors would okay something, next year it'd be back on the want list. And it's already been okayed, but they were not punctual enough to come up here and find out that the money was there. Go ahead and get it done. So that was kind of discouraging at one time. Anyone have any questions about it? The motion to pass it on to the board? Okay.
I'd like to ask about the Kendall building, the design and renovation prep, and I noticed that I believe the chairman of the committee is sitting in the back of the room. And, but I guess my specific question was there some talk of the money for this being raised from donations?
Yeah, we have talked about that. We're gonna have a Hindle Building meeting Thursday of this week. Where we really are on that is, I think before we start getting donations, there's gonna need to be some commitment at the county level. So what we're hoping is that the Board of Supervisors will look favorably on the project and commit to doing it. And then we'll start the fundraising in earnest. You know, there's already the historical tax credits that's in the second year out there. There's been some donations. There's also some opportunity for some grants, maybe. We've looked at a lot of that already, but we may be able to structure the project in such a way that parts of it will be eligible for like a HUD grant or those kind of things. We're not fortunate about that. Yeah, so we haven't really started that because it's hard to fundraise when, you know, you're fundraising for something that maybe might happen someday. So we're hoping we can get the commitment that we'll do the work and then we'll start the fundraising in earnest.
So is it appropriate interpretation then that the figure that we're looking at?
Down to about 1.8. And then, yeah, hopefully there will be other funds like
It's just open rooms. I think kind of what they discussed that day.
right.
Back to the back, it might is a conceptual layout of what the community center would look like, but
Yeah.
it's a little deep into.
Yeah, so there's an auditorium in the upstairs. It was originally built with an auditorium upstairs, and so we would open that back up to the two rooms this side over here on the second floor of our original auditorium. We would open that back up to an auditorium, and the other rooms, yeah, would be the size they are now. There's been a lot of talk about, you know, what we would use it for, woodworking classes, pottery classes, those kind of things. So I think what we would do is target each room for what's going to be there and then fundraise according to folks who would support that activity. So you'd have a